Today is all about how to go from surviving to thriving as a fitness professional and kind of navigating this space. My name is Jayel Lewis and I am a fitness and business coach. Today we're kind of just going to go through pre-COVID, COVID, post-COVID, and how to really focus on sustaining your business and understanding your worth and determining kind of the next steps for you and for your business. I am going to screen share because I do have a presentation, but it is going to be an interactive presentation. So I will ask that you are engaging and communicating via the chat box. And like Kelly said, at the end, we are going to open it up for question and answer. Anything you guys are wondering, I will be happy to answer. So give me 1 second. I'm going to share my screen. So here we go. I'm just going to move you over to the side. So today is all about how to go from surviving to thriving as a fitness professional and kind of navigating this space. So a little bit of housekeeping stuff. We're going to go over a bunch of information today, so be prepared to learn. This will be an interactive learning experience. So please engage, ask questions in the chat box. Let me know where you're at, because if I don't know where you are, I can't help you. Grab a notebook, a pen, or a pencil. Note takers are money makers, so make sure that you are taking notes. And then just try to be really present. I know we're all addicted to our cell phones. I'm personally working on cutting down my own screen time, but try to be present. At the end, we are going to do perhaps a prize or a giveaway. So we'll bring our phones out for that, but definitely drop your questions in the chat box and then we'll open it up towards the end for Q&A. So let's get started. You guys are probably like, who the heck are you? I'll give you a quick little rundown of who I am. My name is Jayel. My last name is Lewis. So my initials are actually my name. So if you are like, I don't know how to spell her name, you can literally just do a J and an L. And I do thank my parents for that whole branding thing before it was an actual thing. So it's the letter J, the letter L, it works either way. I have a degree in exercise science and nutrition, and I have been in the fitness industry for over a decade at this point, and I struggle to say that, but for over a decade at this point. I've trained the United States Air Force in Germany. I was there for about 2.5 years, so if you've ever lived overseas, awesome stuff. And then I also spearheaded a multi-million-dollar health and wellness department most recently. So I was brought on that project, and it is similar if you are familiar with the Soho House. It's a private lifestyle club. So it was a 35,000 square foot health and wellness facility. And I was in charge of everything from hiring the trainers to the curriculum of the trainers, the group exercise formats, the instructors, the blueprints, the layout, the equipment, all of that fun stuff. And I've built a 6-figure online health and wellness brand and business. And I also created the fitness curriculum, which is my program, my 90-day program for fitness professionals, teaching them how to monetize their brand and build a profitable online business. I've been featured in a bunch of media and press, all of that fun stuff, but I want to get to know you guys. So if you can drop in the chat, I know you guys have already kind of dropped it in, but how do you identify in the fitness industry? Do you call yourself a fit pro, a personal trainer, a group X instructor, a studio owner? Just let me know kind of where you guys are and how you identify yourself. Like I said, I know that you've already dropped it in, but would love to kind of just get some new eyes on that and some new engagement. Fit pro, pre and postnatal, fitness coach, integrative health coach, personal trainer, gym owner, group fitness instructor, personal fitness professional, fit pro, love it. Personal trainer, amazing. So when I started off in the fitness industry, it was actually something that happened by accident. When I got my degree in exercise science and nutrition, I thought for sure there was no way that you could actually make a living in the health and wellness space. I was wrong, and I'm happy that I was wrong, but that's kind of where my headspace and my methodology was. And I'm so happy to see that so many people are identifying as fit pros and personal trainers and group exercise instructors as what you do and who you are. So we'll get into that a little bit more. But let's say for this presentation, there is pre-COVID, right? So there's pre-COVID where you may have been solely relying on income. and identifying who you are from studios and gyms. Drop a yes or no if that's you. You primarily worked at a gym or a studio, and that's where you received the majority of your income, or that is where you also kind of received a lot of your like identity, because they help to brand you, they help to market you, things of that nature. So COVID hit, and COVID hit hard. It came out of nowhere, and you were forced to adapt. But you've probably since noticed that this online thing is a way of interacting with clients, and your schedule has been more on your terms. Yes or no? Just drop a yes or no in the chat box for me. Yep. Awesome. And then present COVID, studios have closed. Some have reopened. I'm in Philly, so some of our gyms, our bigger box, larger gyms have reopened, but like Group X isn't fully back. It's at limited capacity. And then some studios are just not reopening and they're going fully digital. Is that kind of where you guys are, wherever you are currently tuning in from? That's it's kind of like 50-50. Some things are in the air. Just drop a yes or no in that chat box. Yeah, 50-50. Kind of all depends where you are, but it's still kind of uncertain. So with that being said, during this time and during COVID, how many of you have had an aha moment of, maybe I should really be my own boss if I wasn't already? Drop a yes or no. Yes, yes, heck yeah, I love it. That's awesome, Roz. How many of you have had thoughts of, maybe I should really focus on pivoting? So I've done everything in person, but maybe I should really consider keeping an online portion of my business. Yes or no? Yep, yep, yes. Paige, yes. Have you had, already pivoted, love it, Paul. Have you had an increased amount of creativity? Like since removing yourself from a specific studio or from a specific gym or from just kind of that brick and mortar, have you additional thoughts of what you can do, what you can accomplish, you know, what you could maybe offer that you weren't necessarily offering before? Give me a yes or a no. Yes, yes, yes. Yes. Roz, I'm right there with you. So much more creativity and opportunity to explore the opportunities and skills I can offer. Yes. And have you had that kind of moment of, hey, this is an opportunity to understand how valuable you truly are in the entire fitness equation? So it's, you know, you are the one teaching, you are the one training, you are the one instructing, you are the one kind of doing it all. So if you feel like, oh crap, like I'm in the driver's seat now, like I am in control of something, give me a yes or a no. Love it. Yes, 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 yes. Okay, awesome. Yes, love it. All right, so this is where I'm going to try to remove my personal feelings from this, because I'm so excited, honestly, about COVID taking place and the opportunity that we've now been presented as fitness professionals. So it's time to think of ourselves as more than a trainer. So when you identify, and when we dropped it in the chat box, a lot of us said one thing. So we said a fit pro, we said a personal trainer, Group X instructor, pre and postnatal coach, all of those things. So what I would challenge you to do in this space is that you think of yourself as more than just one thing. Think of yourself as more than one thing, and we're going to get into that a little bit more. So if you're wondering if the online space is here to stay, I'm here to tell you, yes, that it is. If you're thinking that this may be the time for you to capitalize on the fitness industry going virtual, you're right. And if you're wondering if you can increase your impact and increase your overall income, you can. So this isn't necessarily new, and this kind of early adopter isn't necessarily new. It's just that we haven't all done it before. So if you think of Peloton, if you think of anyone, now I'm dating myself. Give me just give me a number one. If you remember your parents watching like VHS tapes of someone on a beach doing like jazzercise workout. Yes. Okay. All right. Yes, yes, yes. Okay, great. I'm not feeling so old. Thank you. And then there's Varus by Equinox. The list goes on. Yes, Tybo, all of that stuff, Beachbody. So if you, Richard Simmons, yes, Sam. But where is he? Like, there's a whole podcast. Richard Simmons is missing. So maybe by the end of this, we can figure out where he is. But that just goes to show you, Denise Austin, right? Jane Fonda. Sometimes I call myself Jayel Fonda when I dress up for Halloween. But that just all goes to show you that this isn't new. This has been out there. This is just now a newer market, and it's something that's being accepted and received. A quick stat. So in 2015, e-learning, so learning online in the health and wellness space was a $1.7 billion industry. And it's estimated to be $325 billion for 2025. So just let that sink in, and just think of all the possibilities and all the opportunities that we all currently have. So I come from a little bit of a business background, and I often do a SWOT analysis. So it's just where you map out your strengths, your weaknesses, your opportunities, and your threats as a business, but we're going to do it as individuals. So right now, I just want you to remember that you are the secret sauce. Like, you are in charge of what comes next, and you are in the driver's seat. And what makes you different than any other Fit Pro, personal trainer, Group X instructor, coach is you, right? That's why people train with you, work with you, come to your classes, they're present, it's you. The weakness is thinking that you're one thing, that you're just a trainer. So kind of start thinking in that mindset of being more than a trainer. And then your opportunities, your consumer is now trained. I don't love using that word, but your consumer now expects that there is an online capacity, that there is something digital. And you now have the opportunity to be an early adopter. So just think again, Peloton and Varus, things of that nature. And then a major threat is, let's say, COVID 2.0. If you're working in a brick and mortar, COVID 2.0 or the flu or another pandemic, hopefully this doesn't come, but what if it does? Okay, so I'm just going to ask you, how many of you know what a niche or a niche is? Give me a yes or no. No judgment. We're going to go through all of it. Yes, 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 yes. Yeah. Okay. I love it. So good. You guys are like on point. This is great. So I'm just going to go over it. So a niche or a niche, I say niche. Some of you may say niche, but it's who you are and who do you serve. This is the number one thing that you need to understand, whether you work at a brick and mortar, whether you're a studio owner, whether you're an independent trainer, it doesn't matter. You have to really be able to identify who it is that you're speaking to. So how many of you have ever watched QVC, or you got caught watching something and you suddenly feel attacked? You feel like they're calling you out directly, and you're like, I need to buy this Vitamix, or I need to buy this vacuum. Just give me a yes or no. It's happened to me, and that is why I have my Vitamix and my Dyson vacuum. I'm a salesperson's dream. I love that, Sam. I love that. But just hit me with a yes or a no if you ever feel like you've been personally victimized by QVC or something that you're watching on TV and you're just like, how do they know? How are they talking directly to me? So this doesn't happen just by chance. This happens because they've really worked on speaking to one person. And sometimes as Fit Pros, we want to help everyone and we want to offer all of the advice. But that often leads to us helping no one because we're too broad and we're casting our net too wide. Have you ever been on social media and you're like, okay, today I'm going to post what I ate for breakfast, and then maybe I'll post like a workout, and then I'm going to post like what I do in my off time, or what like my cheat meal is, or anything like that, and you're just not fully aware of who you should be speaking to. You're kind of just throwing everything out there and you're expecting for something to stick, but it's not sticking. That is because you have not identified your niche. And once you identify your niche, you're then able to speak to that one person, even though you're speaking to a room full of people. So if you're new to what a niche is, it's a term that's used to identify a small specialized market for a particular product or service, also known as your audience. So let's just use social media for an example. You've got Instagram. Again, if you are putting out all of that information and you're kind of speaking to everyone, you're not really speaking to one person. And when you're speaking to one person, they feel it. It hits differently and they're more excited and more engaged because you're speaking to their pain points. You're helping them solve a problem. You're giving them resources that that individual needs. So how to quickly identify your niche? What is the current demographic that you're serving? So if you're currently working with clients, what is that demographic? So get very specific on it. This is something that like I coach my students on and you can get very granular with, but for today's purpose and not giving you overwhelm and Zoom fatigue, just think about who your current demographic is. Is that a woman that is 25 to 35 years old? Is that a male that's 45 to 55 years old? Is that someone that is a high performer and has a very successful business and makes no time for themselves? So think of what your current demographic is and who it is that you serve. An easy way to do that is just identifying who your current clients are, or who's showing up for you. Then I would go back to what are your most frequently asked questions that people are coming to you with. So whether that's in the DMs, whether that's via email, whether that's people just asking you at the end of your sessions or at the end of a class or at the end of a coaching session. What are the questions that they're constantly asking you, and what are the answers that you are able to fire back with such ease? So that's kind of putting you back into the groove of like, hey, I am more than a trainer. I'm able to solve this problem. I'm able to answer this question. And then what problem are you solving most often for your clients? Are you helping them lose weight? Are you helping them gain strength? Are you helping them avoid overwhelm? Are you helping them avoid burnout? So when you put all of those things together, you create one statement. And that is what I refer to as your superpower statement. So for me, if you go to my Instagram bio, it's I help burnt out fit pros monetize their brand and build a profitable online business. And the reason why this is so important is because this is kind of like our tagline. This is an opportunity for when people either click on our Instagram bio or go to our website or somewhere, they know exactly who we are and what it is that we do. So it's really important that that is in your IG bio, and that you know exactly who you are and what you do so that people can then know that. You have less than 5 seconds when someone lands on your page to convert them, whether they like you or not, or they feel like you can help them or not. All right, so I'm gonna ask a question. Again, no judgment. How many of you currently have what your credentials are in your IG bio, whether that's NASM, CPT, whether that's CrossFit level 1 cert, whether that's PN nutrition level 1. Again, no judgment. Yes, yes, okay. Okay, all right. Some of you, yes, it seems like a little bit of a split. That's totally fine. What I will challenge you to do is think of who your audience is. And I know we're kind of going through this and you may need to take a breather, that's fine. I know, yes, but they all don't fit, totally. But think of the people, your audience that you are helping. Your clients don't know what any of that means. Your clients don't know what that means. Your peers probably do. So we are going to get in to just really identifying your digital business card. So I have a business card. I don't know how many people in the fitness world have a business card, and that's totally fine, because we do a lot of our communication and we do a lot of our marketing on Instagram. So once again, you have less than 5 seconds to convert someone to either work with you, engage with you, interact with you. My recommendation is to take out all of your certifications, because the people that are looking or should be looking at your Instagram profile is your audience. And even if you have fellow fit pros and friends and people of that nature, when they go to look at it, it doesn't matter what your certifications are. Yes, you know that you have them. And yes, when you communicate with someone that's interested in your services, you can absolutely tell them what you do. But that is taking up prime real estate in your Instagram bio. So the things that you should have in your Instagram bio: who you are, and how you identify. So if, let's do this. I said we weren't going to use our phones. Let's take out our phones. Grab your phone, open up Instagram. I know everyone it gives you like zero, like you can just do it. We automatically go to Instagram. Okay. So open up Instagram. Right under your photo, which should be a picture of your face so that people know you. Again, I know you don't feel like, hey, I should be a salesperson or I should be in marketing. Newsflash, you guys already are. If you are in fitness, you already are. So that small picture should be a picture of your face so that people can identify you. If it's something like a body shot or a back shot or something like that, that doesn't resonate with people and they aren't able to start building that know, like, and trust factor. So it should be a photo of you. And then after that, it should be how you identify yourself. Is that personal trainer, group exercise instructor, pre and postnatal coach, whatever it is, that's what it should be. So I'm going to show you my Instagram. I don't know if you can see it. So right under my photo is fitness and business coach. That right there is searchable. So if you're searching something through Instagram, if you're searching something on the web, that is SEO, search engine optimization. And that's how people can find you. So that should be something that is how you identify. Again, personal trainer, group exercise instructor, coach, things of that nature. Thanks, Kelly. But just think of it like that. Under that, don't worry about that. After that, you do want to make sure that your handle is something people can recognize. So if you're taking up that space with fitness and business coach or trainer or whatever it may be, you want to make sure that your name is easy to read. So let's say it's Jane Doe. You would put jane.doe so that when people go to your profile, they know your name and it's not something like reps and sets galore, right? Because that's just not exactly identifying who you are and what you do. Really start showing up as not only how you've identified yourself, but as a professional within the industry so that people look at you differently and they perceive your value as being much greater and much higher. And then you would put your superpower statement. You would put your superpower statement under that so people know exactly who you are, what you do. So mine is I help burnt out fit pros monetize their brand and build a profitable online business. How many times have you shared someone's profile or someone else has shared a profile and you go and you click on it, whether it's in a story or someone tags it, you click on it and you go to that person's page and you're kind of confused. You don't really know what they do. Give me a yes or no. All the time. Yes, right? Like it happens to us all the time. You go on someone's page and you're just like, I don't know what they do. And then just imagine they've got all of their credentials and you have no idea what their credentials are because maybe they're not fitness, maybe they're nutrition, or maybe they're an actual like doctor, PhD, like whatever. You don't know. So that's why it's so important that you make that first introduction and you give people what they are choosing to either opt into or opt out of. 5 seconds. And we all know like the Instagram like funnel and the deep dark web that we can all go into. Next thing you know, hours have passed and you've clicked on like little cows dancing in a farm. So when you put a link in your bio, how many of you have a link in your bio right now? Yes. Okay. And there's nothing wrong with having a link in your bio. You should have a link in your bio. However, you want that link to be something that is going to convert people, right? So I've done it. I've been guilty of having your website or having a blog post or having something that is not necessarily going to convert people into working with you or getting to know you. So I call this, or I teach this, an opt-in or a freebie, right? At the end of the day, the objective is to create a mailing list. Yeah, I'll get to that thought on Linktree in just a second. So you want to create a mailing list. Your list is kind of like gold. It's gold for any business. It's gold for you because one, that's the only thing that you own. You don't own Instagram. You don't own Facebook. If things were going to hit the floor and go south, you have no way of engaging with your audience. So what you want to do is you want to build a list, and you want to begin nurturing them so that they can get to know you and you can get to know them. And one way of doing that is having an opt-in, or having some way for them to give you or choose to give you their first name, last name, and email address so that you can communicate with them. And you don't have to have a website to do that. The issue with having your website up, and I'm not saying you shouldn't ever have it up, but the issue with having your website up, once again, someone clicks on it, they're just seeing all of your services. That doesn't mean that they're giving you, that doesn't mean that you then have a way to communicate with them. So it's kind of just a really nice glossy kind of photo and sort of thing. I have a website. It's usually never in my link in my bio, because you want to be able to convert people into paying clients and consumers. And a way to do that is to grab their information. How many of you guys have opted into something, clicked on something, you're like, sign me up. I can't wait for these pants. I can't wait for, you know, this 10% off or whatever it may be, because it was something that you were interested in. Okay, we're going to keep going. So, I will answer that question about Linktree just because it makes sense for what we're talking about. So if you guys have heard of Linktree, it's just an application that you can use to put various things in your link, right? So you could have your website, you could have a blog, you could have your class schedule or your classes. The thing with that, and it's not my favorite, because oftentimes, one, if you have too many things, people get overwhelmed. They don't know what to click on. If you have too many options, it's like, I'm done. I'm putting my phone down, or I'm clicking on something else. So you want to have one call to action as opposed to many. Same thing, when you're speaking to your audience, you want to imagine you're speaking to one person. So you want to make the decision easy for them and give them one thing to click on. Once they've put their email address in, once you've collected their opt-in, once you start nurturing them and sending them emails, you can then tell them where to go. You can direct them. You direct your audience. Otherwise, you're giving them the ability to make that decision of where they want to go. And you kind of want to make that decision for them ahead of time. So we just know that we all get confused, we get overwhelmed, and then we don't end up clicking on anything. So that's my only thing with Linktree, is that oftentimes people don't click on anything because they get shiny object syndrome, or they have that squirrel moment of like, oh, let me do this instead. And they don't end up clicking into what they originally sought out to like learn more information on, that sort of thing. And also with Linktree, you're not converting them. So if it's like my website, my blog, and my class schedule, odds are they're probably going to sign up for your class schedule, but you are not collecting their information. So you are not receiving their email address or their name. Single call to action, love it, yes. What if your website has a pop-up email? Great question. So once again, if your website has a pop-up, which it should if you have a website, if you don't worry about it. We're all at different places in our fitness business journey, but if you have a pop-up, that's great. But again, someone has to go to your website. The pop-up happens probably almost immediately, maybe a 5 to 10 second delay. And what is it that you're offering? Why don't you just remove them going to your website and just give them that pop-up, which is your opt-in? It could be the same thing. It could be, you know, top 3 ways to ditch the diet for good. That's what we're currently working on in the summer class of the fitness curriculum. But yes, 5 seconds with email list opt-in. But you want them to click on one thing. You only want to ask them to do one thing. Odds are you don't know these people. You haven't built the rapport. You haven't built the relationship. So you want to remove any thought that they may have of not working with you and give them all of the reasons why they should. So give them something that's of value that makes sense for them. Again, going back to who it is that you're speaking to, your superpower statement, the people that you're able to help and the people that you're able to serve. Give them something, right? It's like give and take. It's like dating. It's like a relationship. You're going to give them something so that you can then collect their email address. All right. We are going to dive into the importance of diversifying your streams of revenue. Hit me with some numbers. How many streams of revenue do you currently have within fitness? Again, this is zero judgment. It's like Planet Fitness, no judgment. But let me know. 1, 3, 5. Oh, hey, Tara. 4, 3, 5. Hey. Okay, so you guys are good. I'm loving this. Again, as COVID hit, I think a lot of us had wake-up calls. And if you were already like above the curve before this, that's great. But this just gives you more of an opportunity to create multiple streams of revenue. So as we go a little bit deeper, just remember you are in control of your revenue streams when you create them. So if you're working for a business, if you're working for brick and mortar, that's amazing. I'm always a proponent of still building out your own brand and having your own business. So whether that's a side hustle, whether that's your full-time hustle, it doesn't matter, but you want to be in control of some form of revenue. Whoa, did I just like, okay. Guys, I'm actually a twin and there's 2 of me. But you want to be in control of as much of your income as possible. Know your worth and charge it, right? So again, you've probably had an aha moment of like, oh, I can make more on Zoom. People pay me directly. I can charge more for Zoom training sessions or one-on-one lessons or whatever it is. Know your worth and charge it. So a way to pivot like a pro, and I know that some of the participants in here either are currently in my class or working with me, or we've worked together before. So you may have seen this, but if you have multiple streams of revenue, I would challenge you to make your own business funnel and do it in reverse. So it's an upside down triangle, and at the bottom is actually your lowest ticket offering. So maybe that's a Zoom class, maybe that's a ebook or a PDF or something like that. And then above that, you would have a lower ticket offering, but people don't have as much access to you. So when you're thinking of this business funnel, start thinking of how much people are paying to access you. Because at the end of the day, fitness professionals, however you identify, we are heart-centered people and we want to help everyone, and we will burn the candle on both ends. But it's so important that we know our worth and we work on charging it. Again, this doesn't happen overnight, but you work on charging what it is that you are worth so that you don't make what I call mad money. How many of you have woken up at 5 a.m., 6 a.m., you've trained a client and you're like, why am I doing that? Like, you're mad. Yes, you're making money, but you're mad that you're doing it because you're like, this isn't worth my time. Or a client that no shows, or a class where there's 2 people. Hit me with a yes or no if you've ever made mad money. Yes, 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 right? Yep, yes. Okay, and that's not a good feeling. Because we are fit pros, we're expected to be like happy and bubbly and excited and, you know, just do all of that. But we can't do that if you're pouring from an empty cup or if you aren't making the money that you know that you're worth. So we'll go back to this business funnel because I just went off on a tangent. I told you I was going to try to remove my feelings. I'm just so passionate about all this stuff. But this is your business funnel. Think of it as how much people are paying to access you. In most other industries, people don't have as much one-on-one access as they do to people in the fitness industry. So charge what you're worth and then work on this funnel. At the top should be one-on-one coaching. That should be your highest ticket, also known as the most access to you, right? People see you probably on a multi-day basis, whether that's 2 days a week, 3 days a week, 4 days a week that they're training with you. That price should be your highest price because they're probably also texting you. They're probably also sending you emails, asking you what they should eat on the side. Oh no, they just drank too much. How do they like get back to feeling okay come Monday? All of those things. And then after that is your second highest ticket offering. And it's a high level of access to you, but on your terms. So again, as we kind of navigate this new space, think of maybe creating a group course. Think of maybe creating a way to increase your pricing and work with more people at one time, but on your time versus having the 5 a.m., 6 a.m., 7 a.m. clients or the 6 p.m., 7 p.m., 8 p.m. clients. This is on your time. And this is something that this is actually my fitness curriculum and what we teach. But think of what you could do, again, showing up as more than a trainer. because when you remove yourself from just teaching one thing, you realize how much you can actually offer and how much you're able to impact people. So the stories that you've gone through, the trials, the tribulations, the successes, the fails, everything that you've gone through is teachable, right? It's a teachable moment, and odds are you've taught that in your trainings or your classes or something like that, whether it's mindset, motivation, prehab, rehab, all of those things are teachable, and people want that information. And then you have your lower ticket offering, which is little to no access to you. And then you have your lowest ticket, which is no access to you. Maybe that's a Zoom recording. So it really just depends. Everyone's business funnel is going to look a little bit different. But if you want to take a screenshot of this, if you want to make your own triangle, again, it's a reverse triangle, and at the top should be the highest point that people are paying to access you and to work with you. Okay. Knowing your worth and how to determine your hourly rate. So this is something that I think sometimes is a miss in the fitness industry, especially if we work for ourselves or on our own in any capacity. So how many of you have kind of just winged your hourly rate? Just yes or no? Again, no judgment. You're kind of just making up your prices. It's okay. That's all right. Cool. How many of you have a methodology or a strategy to how much you should be charging? Yepers. Yes. Okay. Kind of. Yeah. It's all good. So back to the fitness industry and the things they don't necessarily teach us based on how many hours I have to invest. That's great. So we're not always taught how to determine our rate, which is okay. But often we've developed our hourly rate based on the market. So maybe in New York, it's a little bit higher than it is in Philadelphia. Maybe in Chicago, it's a little bit higher than it is in Atlanta or Georgia. And overall industry standards, right? And what we think we should be charging. Now, while all of those are good metrics for how to price your services, your programs, your offerings, they're not great, because what they don't account for is you. They don't account for the time that it takes you to program, playlist, all of that stuff, and how much you feel like you are worth. So at the end of the day, you get to decide the cost of doing business. You get to decide the cost of access to you. And then once you're able to accept this, you won't get caught in that cycle of making mad money that no longer serves you. So sometimes, and let me know again if this is you, hit me with a yes or a no, if you have a hard time saying no to teaching a subbed class, to taking on another client, to teaching more classes. Does anyone struggle with saying no? Hit me with a yes or a no in the chat box. Gotten better. That's good, Ross. I love it. So no can also be really, really empowering because it can mean, no, I'm not doing this right now, but it can also open up the doors and mean or lead to new opportunities. So that's actually something that one of my coaches taught me, but the power of saying no. So we're so programmed to say yes, 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 and like, oh, the power of saying yes. Sometimes it's the power of saying no that leads you to new opportunities and allows you to invest more time in the things that make you happy money and not mad money. Okay, get out your notebooks and a piece of paper. We're gonna do some math. Math is not my favorite subject, but we're just going to go for it. So this is how you can determine your hourly rate. Again, this is kind of base level. It doesn't have to be like over the top, but it is a good way to work on what your hourly rate could be. So let's say your desired annual salary is $100,000. Great. And then let's put in the amount of weeks that you're willing to work. Okay, so let's say 48, there's 52 weeks in a year. You can kind of determine, hey, do I want a month off? Do I want 2 weeks off? Do I want 3 weeks off? And then the amount of days that you're willing to work per week. Maybe that's 5 days. Maybe you're okay with 6 days. Maybe no one should put 7. No one should put 7. Maybe that's 4. And then the amount of hours that you're willing to work a day. Is that 6? Is that 7? Is that 8? Fit pros were a little crazy. So like that could be 8, but this is just for you to kind of determine and work through. But then what you would do, this is where we do our equation, right? So it would be weeks times days. So that would be 48 times 5, 240. Days times hours, 240 times 6, that's 1440. And then your salary goal divided by your hours gives you your hourly rate. Okay, but remember, and this rate may seem low, but remember that this is based on you working 6 hours a day, 5 days a week, 48 weeks a year. Okay, so you guys can screenshot this. You can do whatever you would like. I'm happy to send it if I don't know how everything happens at a Sweat Life, but I'm happy to send this deck and give it to you guys to use later on. But this is how you can start thinking of yourself as more of a business professional in that mindset, your money mindset, shifting it of how much you should be charging if you're working this amount of time. So that number may feel low, it may seem high. Again, we're all at different playing fields, but if that number, let's just say it is 69, if that's your number, you know that you maybe need to work a little bit more. Maybe you need to work more hours in a day. Maybe you need to switch around your funnel, right? Because when you add in different points of your funnel, of your business funnel, you're able to kind of maybe scale back on the amount of days that you're willing to work or the hours that you're willing to work if you still have that desired goal. Does that make sense? Cool. Okay. All right, guys, that's all I got. That's for the most part what I wanted to cover today. I would love to stay connected. Please follow me on Instagram. I know I said that it's important to have like an easy handle, right? Sometimes it's like, listen to me, but like don't do as I do necessarily. My Instagram handle has 3 L's. When I made it over a decade ago, or whenever Instagram like first became popular, I assumed it was like your whole name. So my middle name happens to be Lauren, so it's Jayel Lewis, and it's just, there's just too many things to change it now. But feel free to follow me. I would love to follow you. And then if you guys want to enroll yourself in this prize, I'm going to ask you to take a screenshot and tag me, and I would love to know what your biggest takeaway from today was. So you can write that on an Instagram story. I'll be able to see your story, and then I will hop on. There will be one winner that I will let a Sweat Life announce, and you guys will hop on a strategy call with me for 30 minutes, just going over your business, what it is that you want to accomplish, and we'll kind of just strategize things. So I'll take a screenshot too in a second. I'll give everyone a second to take a screenshot if they so choose. Okay, I'm going to stop screen sharing and open it up. It's so nice to see your face, Lauren. All of your faces, but Lauren and I see each other on a very consistent basis. She's a part of the fitness curriculum. So if you guys have questions, please drop them in the chat or raise your virtual hand and we'll just go kind of down the line. I'd love to answer any questions you guys may have. Anything, hit me.
Jayel, can you talk a little bit about what is involved with the fitness curriculum?
Sure. So it's a 90-day group coaching program. We kick off on September 29th for our fall class. So what we do is we go through identifying your own personal story and how that sets you apart. So we identify that, we go through a branding strategy. After that, we work on all of the back end of everything. So how to build an opt-in page, how to create your personal business funnel. And then from there, we launch a program, a course, or an offering so that you can really monetize your brand and build a profitable online business. And Lauren, if you want to say anything, she's from my current class. So yeah, it's a great, it's a community and it's a group course. So what makes a group course nice is that it's all fitness professionals. however you identify, it's all of us together. We have weekly live group coaching calls. We have access to private portal. So all of the modules are self-study. And then we have guest coaches that come on and speak to everything from finance to branding to mindset to legal, all of that stuff. And then we have a private Facebook group that I'm in every day. So I'm just helping everyone in there with any questions they may have, and just going through the steps of how to really build an online business that you are in control of. Okay, you guys better have some questions. You are all fit pros. I know you have questions. Raise your hand or just unmute yourself. Let me know. Thank you, Sam. Of course, you're welcome. Thank you.
I was going to ask, this is Roz. I'm from Houston, Texas.
Hey,
Hey, I was going to ask, could you send that slide deck? I didn't quite get the part for the math.
Yes.
And then my other question is, so you have a course starting September 29th. I know I'm going to be gone quite a bit. How often do your courses start?
So I'm probably doing them every quarter. So I'll have a summer class, a fall class, possibly a winter class.
Okay.
We'll kind of go again.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
Of course. There's no way. There's literally no way.
I got one.
Say yes.
Hey, it's Robin here. So I am run coach, strength coach, but I also own a facility that frankly has a pretty long lease. So that's not going anywhere anytime soon. So I sometimes not struggle, but I'm constantly like, I feel like I should promote the business versus myself because it's my business and it's my face. So how in a COVID world do you suggest navigating how we prioritize those two things? I absolutely get better engagement on personal stuff versus business stuff.
Yeah. So if you have do you have two accounts? Do you have a business account and a personal account? So I would almost like separate the two. So you can talk about your brick and mortar on your brick and mortar's page. But if your demographic or your ideal client is on your personal page, I would talk about like what it means to be a run coach. How do you help people? What are the techniques you would talk about? How to prevent injury? Share part of your personal story. How did you get into running? Why do you love running? What does it mean to you? And client testimonials. So there's so many things that you can speak of that kind of differentiate the two, but they don't commingle.
Cool. Thank you.
Of course. And you said your name was Robin?
Yeah, sorry. I just realized that my name still is the business name. Yep.
Okay. Awesome. Anyone else? Okay, I'm seeing some of these questions. I was going to ask what you suggest for someone who feels like they just need help getting started. I want to do so many things and feel like I have a lot of experiences but can't decide how to find my niche. It sounds like your program might be a good first step. Well, okay, I would be a terrible business person if I didn't say that I know my program can help you, but you need to put your blinders on. At the end of the day, you need to put your blinders on and focus on one thing. Sam, I feel you. I've been you. Sometimes I still am you. Like if I turned my camera around and you saw my whiteboard, you'd be like, holy shiza, that's what's going on in her head. But we have so many things that we want to work on, and it's so important to focus on one thing. Once again, because if you don't focus on one thing at a time, you will have squirrel syndrome and you'll have shiny object syndrome, and you won't get one thing like accomplished, or you won't succeed at one thing. So you have to get really good at doing one thing before you're able to move on. You need to get that clarity. You need to brain dump. You need to figure out who you are, who it is that you want to serve, and how you want to serve them. Because if you're unable to serve them, or if you're unable to make an impact, you're not going to create that income, because everything's going to be all over the place. It's literally going to be all over the place, and you won't be able to identify your revenue streams. Sam, I hope that answered your question. If it didn't, let me know. Jenna, is there an online teaching platform that you like? I'm looking at ThinkFic. I use Kajabi, and I recommend Kajabi. It's what I use for my course. It's what I recommend to the students that are in my course. I just think it's really user-friendly. It's a complete server, so you have everything. If you don't have a website, you can build your entire website on that. If you do have a website, you can build everything else on there. So you can create your email lists, you can create your opt-ins, you can create a sales page, and their dashboard is also really good. I won't get into full-on analytics of things, but their dashboard is really good. Their customer experience is great, and it's, for the most part, pretty user-friendly. So that's what I like, and that's what I would definitely recommend. And yes, if you are thinking about building a course, you do want to have a platform that you can host those things on. So whether they're modules, teaching, or PDFs, that sort of thing, you're screencasting, you're sharing information, you do want to have a separate site that's a private site that people would log into and receive that information. How much time should we spend creating the superpower statement? I sometimes develop some crazy perfectionist tendencies, and I can see myself spending a lot of time trying to find the perfect wording. Yes, so that happens. We have a tendency to be perfectionists. I would say definitely spend some time on it. Do a little bit of market research, identify who your ideal client is. So something that we work through early on is identifying how you can help people and who your ideal client is. So you really go from your ideal client to your superpower statement and how you can help them. So I would definitely say spend some time on it, but don't spend all day on it. So if it's something that you're working on, give it a couple of hours. But really what you want to do is you want to take action, and sometimes that's messy action. So taking action is better than inaction or not doing anything. So it's almost better to put something up there and then let it sit, let it marinate, and then you can always change it. That's the beauty. You can always just hit that delete button and change it. Like, you can always change something. Let's see. Okay. Good question. What is something that we should say no to in regards of bad money? What doesn't feel right? What doesn't feel right and what doesn't serve you, say no. Like, say no, and know that that means you have a new opportunity. Just say no. And at first it's really hard, and you're like, oh gosh, am I going to make money? Am I going to be okay? Like, you will. You'll be fine. You can always pick it back up, but work on saying no. Practice that. Let's see. Got it. Thank you. Okay. Best advice for shaking imposter syndrome is to just do it. I know that sounds crazy, and you're like, yeah, thanks, Jayel. But something I say all the time is Nike, right? Nike has an incredible slogan to just do it. You need to challenge yourself to just show up, right? We all have imposter syndrome at some time. We all question ourselves at some time. So you showing up is going to give you kind of that authority and that psychology of, I can do this. The more you show up, the more you feel comfortable with it. Think of your clients. The first time they did a squat, the first time they did a hip hinge, the first time they did, a downward dog, they probably weren't comfortable. They probably weren't confident. But as they get to do it more and they get more experience, they feel better. They feel better showing up. So I would say, show up. Show up for yourself. Show up for your clients. Show up for the people that need you. At the end of the day, our goal is to create impact. And as a result, from that impact, we get income. So just focus on that, and just know that you have a story, you have a unique story. People need to hear from you. They need to hear why you do what you do, how you do what you do, and how you can help them do that. If you guys have any other questions, let me know. Drop it in the chat. I know some people are popping off. Totally okay. Where do you typically funnel your opt-ins? Is it typically direct interaction with you or a newsletter? Probably depends on your business. Just wanted to get your perspective. Yes, and Paul, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm almost positive you said you own a brick and mortar, or you have your own business.
I'm sorry.
That's all right. Come on.
No, I don't own my own brick and mortar, but I tend to get a lot of personal training clients one-on-one through the different locations that I'm at. So I've been focused on a website, and I never really kind of even thought about an opt-in. So just kind of a new perspective. So I was just kind of wondering how it works for you in your business, or I guess how it would work for us.
Sure. So I would definitely recommend, again, it depends on funds. If you are like, hey, I want to get something out there, do an opt-in. An opt-in is a very easy way to start converting people and collecting that information, where a website, one, it could take months to build, which is totally, I have a website. I love my website. Like, I've spent thousands of dollars on my website. Like, I get it. And I do think at some point, everyone should have a website, but it doesn't have to be the first thing. So if you already have like clients, people are drawn to you for something, you know, people are engaged in your social media, whatever it may be, put up an opt-in and then just create that list. And whether you use Kajabi or MailChimp or whatever, that list will build, and then you'll be able to communicate with them on a regular basis. And you can say, you know, I have openings, or, you know, I have this program, or I have this offering, or whatever it may be. So that would be my recommendation, and then work on the website.
Thank you.
Of course. Thank you. Oh, Lauren wanted to say something, but your microphone doesn't work again. Okay, I will read this. Apparently my microphone doesn't want to work. What I wanted to say is that before I started working with Jayel on the fitness curriculum, I was a mess. I was feeling burnt out, imposter syndrome, and didn't know where to start my business. What I do now, that I'm valuable and I have a skill that I want to share. The fitness curriculum has helped me so much build my brand and my business. Now that it's time for you to invest in yourself, so I would recommend doing it. Thank you. I did not pay Lauren to be on this call. I swear to you, I did not. Thank you, Lauren. That's very, very sweet. Truthfully, I built my current business because I was you, I am you, I've done it. Without getting too much into my story, I didn't think that you could have a successful life or hit the monetary goals when I graduated college. I graduated college in 2007 with my degree in exercise science and nutrition. From there, it was kind of like, let me get a job so that I can appease my parents, but I always had a love for health, wellness, fitness, and nutrition. After that, I ended up falling in love, getting married. I moved to DC. My ex-husband is Air Force. I moved to Germany. That's how my business in Germany started. When I made the decision that it wasn't good for us to be together, I came back to the States, but had to leave all of my clients there. And it's like, holy crap, what do I do now? And this was Skype era. People didn't have Zoom. So I started with Skype. I started with online spreadsheets, all of that. And that's when it hit me that this could be a profitable business, that like I can still interact with people from all over the world, right? So think about how many people now have access to you that they didn't necessarily think or were able to view that they had before. So I went through all of that, built my business like from the ground up, bootstrapped, and was just like, you know what? Like I see so many fit pros that are burnt out, that are not valuing their time, that know that they aren't charging what they're worth, and leave the industry, even though they're so passionate about it and they're so like, it just fills them up, but there's no structure. And when you go into a corporate world, you have that, you know how you're supposed to climb that quote unquote, like corporate ladder. In the fitness industry, it's up to us to create our own corporate ladder. So I don't want to say it's my gift, but like, I love teaching and I love helping other fitness professionals go from feeling burnt out, overwhelmed, like completely exhausted, to like, I think I got this, having that aha moment of like, oh snap, I can do this, and not watch and scroll through everyone on Instagram who's doing it, but to be one of those people, because you absolutely can. So that's my passion. That's my purpose. And you can 100% make a profit from it. That's my speech. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk today. Honestly, thank you guys. If you have additional questions, I'm happy to stay on. If some of you have to go, totally get it. No hurt feelings. Ask me anything. I'm here.
I think Karen had two questions. One about starting her own website. And then I think she also asked about kind of streamlining the bio on her IG, because you kind of touched on that, and like, should you not have like everything you're associated with in your bio?
Yeah, so that's a good one. So the like brands and things like that, companies, obviously that really truly depends on your contract, and that depends on I don't love to say this, but it depends on how they're paying you. So if it's something it's already stated in your contract of, you know, you need to put our Instagram handle in your bio, then you need to put their Instagram handle in your bio. If it's something where you're like, I get 10% off of like these really fun leggings, like that's great, but that's not serving you, right? That's not serving you. And at the end of the day, it's 10% off of that helping you and your business. Odds are the answer is no. So you just want to be really mindful about what you're putting out there and how people are receiving that. So I would really work on what your superpower statement is. You can always put what if you've been featured in like media outlets, things like that. And if you have that call to action button, you know, put that in there. What was the other part? I'm sorry, website. Oh, how do you get started when you're still working for someone else and you want to branch out for yourself? I find that I'm already burnt out and I'm strapped for time, but really want to start making moves. So this is where you have to kind of step in and be your own boss, and you have to just start showing up. And this is why I find it so important to start building your brand, start building some sort of income on your own so that you have that, that level of comfort of like, I can do this. So even if you're working for someone else, start showing up on social media, start speaking to whoever your ideal client is or what your superpower statement is. Show up, speak to them, and that's your kind of market research, right? That's how you can determine how can I help people? What can I do? What do I want my services and offerings to be? But Sam, I would definitely say, like, start putting yourself out there. Start putting yourself out there more and more. You don't need a website to start. You would need an opt-in page. Start building your list and start talking to people. Yeah, you do not need to spend off the bat. You do not need to spend thousands upon thousands of dollars on a fancy website. You can spend, you know, a quarter of that on, you know, an opt-in page through a service like Kajabi or a platform like MailChimp or what have you. So those are my recommendations.
This was so great, Jayel. I think we just appreciate you spending the afternoon with us. I think there was so much like little tidbits that I think everyone could kind of walk away with and then wanting more. No, this was lovely. And I think that I'll definitely follow up. If you want to share your slides with me, I'll follow up with the recording, the slides, and then we'll announce a winner too if when people post the screenshot, which I love.
Absolutely. Thank you guys so much. If you are interested in applying for the fitness curriculum, the link is in my bio on Instagram to apply. I think a Sweat Life will probably share that with you at some point. If you guys have any questions, feel free to hit me up in the DMs. I get caught up in there sometimes, so feel free to hit me up. I can't wait to see if you've tagged me so I can see what your biggest takeaway was. But thank you for being here. I appreciate you taking time out of your day to learn. So thank you. I really appreciate it. Wherever you guys are, enjoy the day. I'm sorry I went a little bit over, but thank you for being here.